Hello, we'll be starting in just 1 minute and we'll just be waiting for people to come in. Okay, hello everybody and welcome. I would like to introduce Stephanie Crank. She is our speaker today. We're so excited to have her back virtually with us at SUU. And I'd like to do an introduction. Stephanie is a PhD candidate in the Brain and Cognition program in the Psychology department at Utah State University. She received her Bachelor in Science in Psychology and Criminal Justice from Southern Utah University and her Master of Science in Applied Psychology from Angelo State University, member of Texas Tech. Her research interests have varied throughout her studies. However, currently she's looking at the effects of language on the perception of deception. So we're gonna hand it over to Stephanie, and if you have any questions, feel free to put them in the Q&A and we will answer those as she goes through the presentation. Thank you.
Thank you, Lindsay, for that lovely introduction. I really appreciate that. So as Lindsay said, my name is Stephanie Crank, and I am a previous student at Southern Utah University. Lindsay did a really great job letting you know all of my degrees. And so I did get my Bachelor's of Science in Psychology and Criminal Justice from Southern Utah University. I wanted to point out a few things about each of my degrees. So while I was at Southern Utah University, I did 4 presentations, 2 at Rocky Mountain Psychological Association and 2 at the Festival of Excellence. I also had 4 different research studies that I worked on while I was at SUU. While I did my master's in applied psychology at Angelo State University, I had 3 publications. I had 1 internal publication, 1 external publication in a peer-reviewed journal, and then 1 thesis publication. I did 5 presentations. I had 3 different main research studies, and then my thesis on top of that, so a total of 4 studies. While at Angelo State, I also was the vice president for PsyChi, the president for Psychology Club, and the treasurer for Psychology Ambassadors. I also did a lot of volunteer work. So I worked with the Children's Advocacy Center, and I was a court-appointed special advocate, or CASA. Now I'm in my PhD. I'm in the Brain and Cognition program at Utah State University. I'm currently working on 5 research studies. I've been a student for 1.5 years now, and I have 1 manuscript that is currently under review. So I wanted to show a little bit of a difference because, as you can see, I went into my master's first before my PhD. So this is what my CV looked like when I was going into my master's. So I did apply for PhD programs and I didn't get in. And so I applied for master's and then I got into the master's programs. And this is what my CV looked like. So as you can see, I have my education here, and then awards, and then I did my research next, professional experience, and my academic service. It's pretty short, it's only about 2 pages, but it's still pretty good for an undergraduate. This is what my CV looked like going into my PhD. So I had a lot more presentations, I had everything in APA format, I put my publications first and then my presentations second, rather than just research and then presentations. And then I had my honors and awards last. So what is the big differences between going into my master's and going into my PhD? What differences do you guys notice in that? Feel free to put them in the comments so that they can be read out.
Yes, there's a Q&A box, should be at the bottom of your screen, so you can ask questions through there.
I'll give some people some time to write in some of those differences. And if you'd like me to go back and forth between slides, I can also do that as well.
So we have one that says that you got involved in more academic experiences.
I did. So while I was at Southern Utah University, I was still in Psychi, as you can see right here, and then the Psychology Honors Club and Criminal Justice Honors Club. But I was a lot more involved. I got really involved in being the president and the vice president of different programs.
Okay, I don't see any others that have come in.
Okay. So one other thing that you might notice is when I was at my master's, I had publications. So one thing that I really encourage you to do is think about what you were writing, because having a publication is going to put you over the top in applications. I had about the same amount of presentations and the same amount of research, but they were a little bit more involved research and more involved presentations. I also got involved with the community a lot more at Angelo State than I did at Southern Utah University. And until COVID happened, I was a bit more involved with Logan up here in Logan than I was down in Cedar City. Does anyone else want to chime in before I keep going? Okay. So what I wish I knew when I was applying. So what I was prepared for was only a master's. I really was not prepared for a PhD. First, I didn't know what I wanted to study. I knew that I wanted to do something in psychology and law, but that is a very broad topic. I had very little research experience. I only had one individual research experience that was outside of a class setting that I did on my own, and I had very little presentation skills. Now, I did get to present at a few different conferences like Festival of Excellence and Rocky Mountain Psychological Association, which helped a lot. And I know that unfortunately this year and next year have been canceled for Rocky Mountain Psychological Association. But I encourage you to look for online presentations, because there are a lot of conferences that are going to an online format, especially because we can't meet in person. What I needed to prepare for was I needed to network. I needed to network with a lot of people. I needed to get way more experience. I needed to actually decide on the path that I wanted to go. And I needed to get more involved. So one thing that I didn't know before was that I had to reach out to other professors at universities that I was applying to let them know I was interested in the research that they were interested in, which is why you need to decide what kinds of things you actually want to study. However, that being said, when I was going into my master's, I didn't think that I was going to ever be interested in studying deception. So even if you do decide, it might change over time. Other things that I wish I knew is that only about 1 to 3% of individuals who apply for a PhD program actually get accepted into that program. So of the 500 plus applicants, only about 1 to 4 people get accepted. And for a master's, it's not much higher. So it's only about 3 to 6% for a master's program. So what you want to be thinking about is, okay, I might not be in that 1 to 3% for one university, but if I applied to many, my chances of getting accepted are a lot higher. I also had to learn the power of language. So your personal statement matters. When you're writing your personal statement, you want to use as much positive language as you can possibly think of. So you don't want to say, well, I didn't know what I wanted to do. I just know that I want to do research. I don't know how to do this. I don't know how to do that. That's a lot of negative language. You're using a lot of nots in that sentence. You want to use very positive language. So you want to talk about how excited you are to do research and how much you learned doing this one project or these 5 projects that you did. You want to talk about yourself in a very positive light, and essentially you want to be a salesperson for your ability to succeed in that program. So use very, very positive language. Your excitement for being there matters. So when you apply and when you write your personal statement, you want to use positive language. But when you get an interview or you're emailing some of the professors that you might work with, you also want to show excitement because you want to be excited to go to that program, to go to that school, to go to that city and to live in that city because you're going to be living there for 3 to 5 years or more. So you really want to be excited about that. Your desire also matters. If you do not have the desire to stay in school for that long, then you don't want to be applying because that is 5 years. That is a long time to be in a place studying one thing. So I've been studying deception for 3 years now, and I'm still excited about that. So you want to make sure that you're picking something that you're going to stay excited about and that you're going to have the desire to continue studying that and continue being in school and being at that one location for that long of time. So what can you do to prepare? Well, one thing that I didn't do very well is I didn't study for the GRE. I got a 148 on the verbal, 164, I believe, on the quantitative, and then a 4.5 on the writing. Now, if you haven't looked at the GRE yet, the highest that you can get is a 170 on each part and then a 5 on the writing. So the highest verbal score is a 170, the lowest is a 130, the middle is a 150. So on verbal analysis, I was below average. And on quantitative or math, I was about 68th, 70th percentile, which isn't too bad. That's about 1 standard deviation above the norm. And then for writing, I was in the 80th percentile. Why does that matter? Well, most schools look at your GRE score first because of the amount of applications that they get. So you could be the most qualified person for whichever program that you're applying for, but you didn't meet the school's GRE requirements, and so you get overlooked. So studying for the GRE is extremely important, and applying to schools that match the GRE scores that you have is also important. So when going into my PhD applications, again, I didn't apply for schools that had a GRE minimum requirement because I would not have matched that GRE minimum requirement. I wasn't quite at that level. So that's another thing to look out for when you're looking at schools is what is their GRE requirement? Some schools have one, others don't. Keep that in mind. The next thing is to learn how to study for your classes because they're going to change. Studying for classes is always going to change. You want to learn how to study and learn how to adapt that studying for each new class that you're in. Once you learn the best study methods for yourself, it's going to translate from your undergrad to a master's program or to a PhD program. It's going to translate. So you want to learn how to study and learn how to study best for yourself, which I can give some tips on what I learned, but it's always going to be different for every individual person. The next thing that you really want to start preparing for is research experience. You need a lot of research experience. You need to learn how to write well, and you need to work on your presentation skills, which SUU has a really great center for that, which we'll talk about soon. So work on research, learn how to conduct research experiments, get really good at the IRB, because no matter where you go, you're going to have to submit a IRB or Institutional Review Board application. And you're going to work on your writing skills, because writing is very, very important. And also note that the APA just came out with a new manual, so things have changed. The next thing that you need to do to prepare is you need to network. Reach out to other psychologists in the field that you want to study, or other people in general. I'm sure not all of you are psychologists, so reach out to other biologists or entomologists or chemists, whatever area you're studying in. Reach out to those professors, ask them questions, and let them know who you are. Because once they see your name on the application, they're going to say, hey, wait, I remember talking to that person. I'm going to look over their application and see if they're going to fit with what I want to do. You'll also want to take advantages of resources at Southern Utah University, and there are a lot of resources. Do you have any questions before I keep going? I saw them pop up in the...
Yes, we have a few questions. So I'm just going to go through, there's just 3 right now. So
okay.
The first one is, what is the coolest thing you have learned about deception?
Awesome. That is a really great question. One of the coolest things that I've learned, which is also kind of disappointing, but it's really cool either way. We don't know when people are being deceptive for the most part. So the average rate of truth lie discrimination, which basically is just how you can tell if someone is telling the truth or lying, your ability to tell the difference, is only about 54%, and that hasn't changed over the last 14 years. So the ability to tell if someone is lying to you is about the same chance as flipping a coin.
Yeah. Wow, that's interesting. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
So our next question is, okay, so this person is asking, so all of the programs I'm looking at are no longer requiring the GRE. So how do I differentiate myself?
Excellent question. So that is going to be in your networking and in your personal statement. Networking, it's kind of disappointing when you learn that it's who you know and not what you know, because you want to be that person that knows a lot of things, and that's how you get in. But it's also a huge game of who you know. So reach out to different professors in the programs that you're going to apply for, and let them know who you are. Send them your CV, talk to them, ask them questions, ask them for articles that they've written, or ask them questions about articles that they've written, and just kind of get to know them, because you want to get your name out there and for them to recognize your name. And then in your personal statement, you want to always thank them for their time, because they are taking a lot of time to go through your application. And then you also want to show how excited you are to study the same things that they're studying, to be a part of their program, and to be a part of their community. So those 3 things are going to set you above everyone else by getting to know who you want to work with, and then showing your excitement and desire to work with them. Mm-hmm.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah. Other questions so far?
I think you answered this one. This person asked, does the GRE apply to every major? So I think you answered that, but if you'd like to continue, go for it.
Yes. So the GRE is applicable to most programs. There are a few programs, master's programs usually don't require GRE, and business usually requires, I believe it's the GMAT. The LSAT is for law. So there's different tests for different programs that you're going to apply to. Most PhD programs require the GRE in some form, And then some programs also require the subject test for the GRE. So there's a psychology subject test, there's a chemistry subject test, and I believe biology. But just looking into the programs that you're applying to will tell you whether or not you have to take those tests. And if you don't have to take the test, don't spend the money because it's like $350 to take the test.
Awesome. And then we have one more,
Okay.
as you were talking about deception.
Mhm.
And Steve asks, how do we know you are telling us the truth?
I do have some references. I will be happy to share them in the comments. That specific reference is Bond and DePaulo from 2006. It's one of the most cited references in deception as far as truth-lie discrimination.
Awesome. Thank you. And that's it for now.
All right, so resources at Southern Utah University and in Cedar City. These are the things that you want to take advantage of right now and as often as you can. First, the Undergraduate Research and Scholarship Program. While I was looking up some of the current references, I was really sad to see that the EDGE program, the Education Designed to Give Experience, was discontinued. When I was at Southern Utah University, I did not like it at first. And then after, I was very, very glad for it. So take the opportunity to give yourself the education that you need to get that experience and take advantage of the research and scholarship program and come up with your own research studies. Even if you fail at them at first, like I did with my first one, you will learn so much. And I'm very, very thankful. I'm not sure if Dr. Courser is on right now, but I'm very thankful for Dr. Courser because he kind of just pushed me into the deep end and was like, okay, try it. And I didn't do well the first round. I had to redo it. And so take advantage of those opportunities to fail and try again. Take advantage of the Writing Center. The Writing Center helped so much because there's a lot of things that you don't notice that other people are going to notice. And there's a lot of things that you learned over the years that you forgot about how to write and how to write well. The Writing Center is really, really great. Another resource that's just online is like grammarly.com. That's a free resource to take advantage of. And then ask other people just in general, especially the layperson, the person that's not in psychology, not in biology, not in science in general, to read your papers, because if they don't understand it, then you need to explain it. And you need to learn how to explain it so that the average person can understand what you're saying. Another thing to take advantage of is the Speech and Presentation Center. I did not take advantage of this one as much as I should have because it was an excellent, excellent resource. The time that I did take advantage of it, I did win an award afterwards. So, definitely take advantage of that. Another is the Career Center. You will have to write up a CV and a resume, and the Career Center will help you write up that resume and come up with different ways to network. And then last but not least, get involved with the community. So the Community Engagement Center will provide a lot of different resources for volunteer opportunities. And having volunteer opportunities is a huge thing on your CV because it shows that you are interested in the community in which you live. So being involved in the community that you live makes it more comfortable for yourself when you're living there for that long, and it gets you involved so you can meet new people and so you can become more interested in things that you do. So I chose to do the court-appointed special advocate because it matched with my desire to do psychology and law. So there's a lot of different volunteer opportunities that are going to match with what you want to do in your life as well. Any last questions?
We have no questions so far, but you all are welcome to ask questions, like she said. Okay, we do have a question that came in from Brandon,
Mhm.
and he's asking, what would you say is the best structure for a personal statement?
Excellent question. First, you will want to thank the individuals, just think in general, for taking the time to read your personal statement, to review your application. You don't necessarily have to say thank you for taking the time, but in a general sense, let them know that you are grateful for them to take the time out of their day to review your application and read your personal statement. Then depending on where you're applying to, they'll have some kind of structure usually. But for the most part, you'll want to start with your desires. You want to start with your excitement to do research and your excitement to teach, because you'll probably have to teach at some point in a PhD program. You'll want to talk about your excitement to continue to learn. Learning is a huge thing. And then you'll want to talk about your experience. You'll want to say, well, I did X research project, I learned X, Y, and Z, and that makes me a better candidate. And while I was doing this volunteer activity, I learned how to apply certain things to different areas of your life. So, for example, I talked about that when I was starting to work on my thesis, I didn't realize, well, I didn't say it like that, but I realized how cool deception was and how cool decision making and the interplay of decision making and deception had to do with each other. And I found my passion. And so you want to talk about what you did, why it was exciting, and what you learned from it, and how you can continue to apply it in a program. Then you'll want to talk about specific individuals that you want to work with. So in my personal statement for Southern Utah, or for Utah State University, I talked about my advisor, Chris Warren. And I said, I think that it would be really cool. I don't remember the exact words that I used, but I said something along the lines of, it would be really awesome to work alongside Dr. Warren because of his work with decision making, specifically looking at norepinephrine. I referenced some of his recent articles as why it was important to deception, and I kind of played the two together because Dr. Warren doesn't look at deception specifically, but he does look at decision making, and deception is part of decision making. So you'll want to talk about, or you'll want to you'll want to thank them, and then talk about why you're excited and the experiences that you've had that make you the best candidate. And then you'll want to talk about the specific people that you do want to work with. Mm-hmm.
Awesome, great answer. I'd also like to say after this Q&A, everyone is welcome to stay on for a Q&A with our graduate admissions here at SUU. So just want to let everyone know, but I will continue with these questions for Stephanie.
Mm-hmm.
So if you could go back to your freshman year, what advice would you give to yourself?
Try. I would tell myself that self-control is a skill that is learned, and it is best learned early on, because when you're a freshman, going to classes is hard, especially right now with everything being online. You'll go to class, but it'll be a lot harder to pay attention. You'll have a lot more distractions because classes are online. And so learning and trying to work on your self-control is the best thing that you can do early on, because once you get into a master's program or a PhD program, you're not going to be told what to do anymore. You're not going to be told what you need to know for tests. You'll likely not have any tests at all, and you'll need to learn self-control and time management.
Awesome, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
And then Brandon asks, what would you say is the most positive part about your PhD, and what has been the most difficult part?
The PhD specifically, the most difficult part has been transitioning. in many different ways. Transitioning from a master's to a PhD was difficult. Transitioning with doing in-person versus online classes, and transitioning from Texas back to cold weather was also difficult. So the transition is going to be very difficult at first. Classes, like I said before, you probably won't have any tests, but you will have a lot of papers. And so you'll have someone guiding you through, but you have to transition from being told what you need to learn to learning what you need to learn on your own. You'll have someone to answer questions, but they're not going to tell you what you need to know anymore. They're just going to give you the resources that you need, answer any questions that you have, and you have to do that on your own. You have to learn it on your own and learn how to ask questions. So transitioning from being told what to learn to learning how to learn was very difficult. The most positive experience, though, has been the people that I've met and the research that I've done. I've got to do a lot of really cool research studies, not just in deception. So I've looked at mate guarding behaviors in humans, which is essentially how we protect our significant other. So what kinds of behaviors do we engage in to let other people know that that person, in a sense, belongs to you, is your partner? So I got to do really cool research there. I've got to travel to do presentations. I traveled to Chicago. I traveled to Albuquerque, to Houston, to Denver. Really, really great opportunities there. And I've got to meet a lot of really cool psychologists, including psychologists who do research in deception.
Thank you. So we have another question. With COVID-19, how would you suggest starting to network?
Yes, that is an excellent question. So email is the best way. With the professors that you want to work with, their email is going to be on the school webpage. And so what you'll want to do is you'll want to take that email. You'll want to send them an email from your Southern Utah University email. Don't send them a personal email address because you'll want to be more business-like. So send them an email, ask them a question about an article that they've written or about their current research that they're doing, or even ask them how they are doing research with the virus, because a lot of in-person data collection has been halted, especially if you're looking at neuroscience. And so ask them how they have adjusted to the change, and just ask them questions that will elicit a response so you can have a back and forth conversation with them.
Awesome. So Grace is asking, her question is, what exactly do you want to do after you graduate?
Yes, I want to teach at a teaching-based university. I don't particularly want to work at a research R1 school because of the publisher parish. I do like teaching a lot more than I like research. So I want to work at a a teaching institution. I want to teach and do research with deception, just not as stressful research.
Great, awesome. Thank you. I don't think we have any more currently coming in.
Okay.
But we can wait if you'd like.
Yeah, we can wait a minute or two if anyone else has questions that they want to answer, and then I'll pass it on along to you guys.
Awesome. Okay, we have one from Jeff, and he says, what exactly, oh wait, this is the same, he just sent it over to me, it's the same question I already asked you, so I was asking what you want to do when you graduate, so.
Oh, okay. Yeah. And after you get a PhD, there's a lot of opportunities, whether it's in psychology or any of the other sciences. You don't have to work at a university. You can do private sector research. Government research is also a big one. You can work in businesses, and once you learn a lot of statistics, you can run those statistics for businesses, and that's another really great opportunity. So statistics is a good thing to learn.
Okay, so we don't have any other questions coming in. Yeah, last chance, anybody? Okay, well, I don't think anyone else has questions unless they, I would think they would type them in a little earlier. So it looks like there's no more questions at this point.
Perfect. Sounds great.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much. We really appreciate it.
Absolutely. I'll pass it on to you.
Okay, awesome. We will have the Q&A with our graduate admissions here at SUU right now. So we have Grace here, and then we also have Jonathan and Lydia should be joining us as well. Hello, everybody.
Hey, we're glad to be here.
We are glad to have you here. So we had a question come in that I thought you guys would be able to answer, and let me pull it up. Okay, so this person says they're very interested to attend the graduate program in psychology, but they don't know much about it. What advice can you give to someone who does not have any idea about the graduate program?
Yeah, that's a really good question. I think probably the best thing to do would be to go to the psychology department and to chat with the professors, maybe the department chair, the people who are developing that program and putting it together. Talk with them, see what you can do to get yourself, I don't know, maybe to the front of the line, if you will, through working with them on research. Making sure you're taking the proper classes that may be required for you to attend that program, and just build a relationship. Take advantage of people's office hours, things like that. The best thing that you can do for yourself is, in that case, is to just get to know the people that are behind the program, and it'll set you up for success.
Great answer, thank you. Okay, so we don't have any questions coming in at the moment. So if anyone has questions, feel free to ask them in the Q&A box. Okay, well, I have a question while we're waiting. Can you tell us all exactly what you do at Graduate Admissions?
Sure. I guess I can go first. So my name is Jonathan. I am the Associate Director for Enrollment Management here over recruitment and marketing. So specifically what I do is I manage our team of recruiters, student workers, and marketing department in terms of what our plans are going to be to succeed and hit the goals and metrics that we've decided that we want to shoot for. So basically, I just make sure that all of our recruiters have all the things that they need to be successful in their jobs, and that we're out there finding new students to come to SUU's graduate programs.
Perfect. And I'll piggyback onto that, John. My name's Grace, and I do campus and community outreach with the Graduate and Online Admissions Office. So we're, trying to get into classrooms and talk to students on campus, our current students, about the different opportunities, scholarships, internships, and the various programs that might be able to benefit them here at SUU. So we're here to help. Truly helping students is our main job. So if you do have any questions, please feel free to reach out to us.
Yeah, definitely. I would also just say, echo Grace and John and say that our objective is to help students. My name's Lydia, by the way. I'm a recruiter in the Graduate and Online office. And as recruiters, we help students find the best program for them that will fit their career objectives and help them accomplish their goals. And we also have academic advisors in our office who, once we help students be admitted to a program, they help students have a good degree plan and finish the program in a timely manner.
Yeah. So ultimately what we do is we help students with any questions they have about graduate school and get them on the right track. And so don't be shy, reach out to us. We're here to help. That's our job. There's no question too big or too small that we can't tackle for you. So please reach out to us.
Even if you're in your freshman or sophomore year and you're thinking about it, we'd love, like John said, to answer any questions that you have, kind of walk you through the different processes that each different master's program that SUU offers has, and just help you be prepared for the time when that day comes to apply and to get into the program.
Awesome. Thanks for all the information. So we do have information from Garrett, and he says, hi, so I'm the department chair of psychology, and I'd like to add to Jonathan's great advice. If you want specific information about the psychology program, call or email the department and ask to be put on the information list for the program. Once we have more specifics about the program, we'll email everyone on the list. We anticipate more information will be available in early spring 2021. So just wanted to share that information since he put it up in the Q&A. Awesome. So there's currently no open questions at the moment, but if anyone has any questions, feel free to send them our way. Do you guys have any information, like generally asked questions that people usually like frequently ask questions maybe?
Yeah. A lot of the types of things that we get asked was actually covered by Stephanie. But a big one for us is cost. We get asked about cost a lot. So let's cover that a little bit. SUU is actually really well and competitively priced for graduate schools. I think our most expensive graduate program probably runs about $17,000. And for a graduate program, that's with no other funding, right? Departments have stuff like graduate tuition waivers and some aid that you can get, but even at that, $17,000 it sounds like a lot, but I mean, for a graduate level program, it's not too bad. So SUU is very competitively priced, and you're getting a great education for what you are paying for it. So we got asked about cost all the time, but so I wanted to talk about that. But beyond that, we get a lot of questions about GRE and how the GRE plays a part in this. There's a really interesting thing that's going on in higher education currently, and some programs are continually require the GRE, but some don't, or the GMAT or the LSAT, depending on what kind of program you're going into. SUU is kind of a mix at the moment. Some programs here, like the Masters of Public Administration, don't require a GRE, or they'll have some sort of GRE waiver. So yeah, I mean, there's options for things like that. If a program here at SUU says it requires a GRE, sometimes there are waiver options, and sometimes they just don't require them at all. But I'm talking a lot. Grace and Lydia, what do you want to add?
Just add to, people ask us a lot about how long it takes to generally complete a graduate program, and that's something else that's really good at SUU. Our programs are 30 to 36 credits, and graduate programs at other universities might be that long, but they might also be more towards 60 or 70 credits. So a lot of our programs you can finish in 2 years part-time, which is really appealing. You can do it even faster and for less money if you participate in the bridge program as well. We help students with the admission process, the application, statement of intent, different things that Stephanie was talking about. We can help you with those aspects of the application as well.
Thanks, Lydia and John. One initial thought that I had was that, like they said, a lot of our programs can be completed online, which makes it even more flexible. So if you just graduated with your bachelor's degree, or maybe you're 10 or 15 years into your career, this isn't something that is impossible, simply because it is so flexible. There are synchronous and asynchronous course options, on campus or online, like I mentioned, and the professors really are willing to work with the students and to make it the best possible situation for them. That's one thing that's so awesome about Southern Utah University is I feel like the professors really are here to help us learn and to improve our lives as a whole. So that was just one initial thought. Also, Lydia mentioned the Graduate Bridge program. And so for students, excuse me, who are currently studying at SUU, you can save time and money by doing the Graduate Bridge program, because you can take graduate level courses during your undergraduate schooling. And that in some programs, you can do up to 12 credits. So you're getting about a third of your program done, and you're paying the undergraduate tuition rate. Scholarships and financial aid can be applied, and it's just a great way to get a jump start on your master's degree. So that's just one other thought with that.
Thanks for all that helpful information and answering those generally asked questions. We do have a question, and they want to know, what exactly is the GRE?
The GRE stands for Graduate Record Examinations. It's basically like the ACT for graduate school. It's a standardized test that helps you get admission to different graduate programs. Like John was saying, standardized testing is going away in some regions, a lot of places around the US. SUU also is not requiring the GRE anymore. And I believe we just did away with the ACT for undergraduate admission as well. So it's something that if you're looking to start graduate school, you might not need to worry about anymore.
Awesome.
And it could go either way. I think the best thing is to just look into the schools that you're looking at and see whether they require it or not. And stay on top of it, because some schools may require it 5 years from now and some might not. So it's a really touch and go with that, but Lydia is absolutely right. Some places do and some places don't. So I would just say don't necessarily bank on it, because depending on what program you want will determine whether you're going to need it or not.
Awesome, thank you. So we don't have any current questions that have come in. So if you guys would like, we could wait a minute, or it's up to you.
Let's wait. There's gotta be some eager young student out there that's just dying to ask a question to us.
If you have program specific questions, you can also ask those.
Absolutely.
We have two questions that just came in. So the first one is, when will we know if the GRE is required for the psych? D. So I'm guessing this is this doctorate in psychology.
Mhm.
Okay.
If I was gonna ask if Garrett is still on, maybe he could help answer that question better than we could.
Yes, I'm not sure.
Otherwise, John.
Okay. I will check and see if he is still on.
My assumption is yes, but I don't want to.
He's here.
say-
Perfect.
Oh yeah, he just said he's here.
We are working on deciding about the GRE. So not quite sure yet, looks like. So my guess is we'll probably know within the next year. Garrett?
Sounds also like they're planning on sending out more details to a list of students who inquire about it. And so I'm sure they'll send the answer when they have it too.
Awesome. And thanks for helping us out, Garrett, as well, in your information. So we had a few more questions come in. First one's from Jesse. When do you apply for graduate school?
So I'll take that one. Again, this depends on the graduate school and the graduate program you're looking to attend. Admission processes vary from place to place. Sometimes it can take months to receive an admission decision once your application is totally submitted. Other places like at SUU, you'll have an admission decision within a week after submitting your application. So it really does vary from school to school and program to program. Generally, it's much better to get your application in sooner than later. Classes open up and registration opens up. And so you want to make sure that your application is in and you're admitted in time to be able to register for the classes when they open. At SUU, I'll just add, sorry about that. You're going to want your application to be submitted probably halfway through the semester before you want to start the graduate program. You can do it up to 3 semesters before you want to start that specific graduate program, but definitely halfway into the semester before the semester you want to start, just so that you can get the admission decision and get enrolled in classes and make a degree plan with your academic advisor and so forth.
Thank you. So our next question is, how many graduate programs does SUU have?
I will take this question, and John and Lydia, please hop in if I'm off track a little bit, but I believe we have around 15, ranging from accountancy to business administration, education, professional communication. I mean, the list goes on. We have a ton of programs. And as mentioned earlier, a ton of them are online as well, which is a great option for those who are in need of a flexible schedule. Lydia or John, was that number I said correct?
I think it's 16.
Yeah. Ultimately, it all depends on how you count, because you can do things like you can do a joint Mac MBA, and some people count that as a program. But yeah, the real answer is about 15, 16. So yeah, Grace is totally correct.
Awesome, thanks. So we have another question asking, as far as admissions go, what are some things that really make the applicant stand out on their applications?
I work with students every day, work on admission teams. Something you can do to really make your application stand out and that will be considered when you're being considered for admission. You want to have a good GPA. You want to have a good letter of intent, good writing sample if that's required for your application. But also I would definitely say work with the admission advisors as much as you can. Get to know them on an individual basis, work with them. Also work with the program directors of the program you're working with if possible, or the faculty. Those networking, taking advantage of those networking opportunities and getting to know the people that will be helping you when and if you are admitted to the program is a really big help.
Yeah, and just to add to that, really, and work experience doesn't help or doesn't hurt either. Having some work experience is great, not required, but it's something that can definitely be beneficial, especially if you have a lower GPA and you're worried about something like that. Seeing success in the employment field can definitely be a benefit to you in that regard.
Thank you. So we have another question. I think if you guys can answer this, maybe Garrett can. He said, I tried to submit a request for more information, but it does not include the psychology doctorate program on the form, and they're asking if they're using the wrong form.
My guess is, since that program was approved at the Regents level just recently, there still needs to be some internal processes to make sure that that's been added to all our requests for information pages. But across the university, my guess is also that since things are in motion with that, most of the information is going to come from a centralized point, which is the psychology department ultimately. So
Okay, thank you. So we don't have any other questions. We did have a lot come in at once, so that's awesome. Yay. Okay, we can wait a minute and see if there's any other questions. Okay, there are no more questions currently, but, oh, there is one that just came in, awesome. So Garrett's saying, please email Brianna, our administrative assistant, at Brianna Shirts, so I can spell that out, BREANNASCHURTZ@SUU.edu, to let her know that you're interested. She'll keep your name on the list until we have more info about this psychology doctorate and clinical psych program. Awesome. Thank you, Garrett, for that answer. Would you guys like to wait another minute, or do you have any additional information you'd like to share?
Yeah, we can wait, but we're we're a fountain of knowledge, so we can just like go for hours. I would just say that ultimately, if you're considering a graduate degree, you should absolutely do it. And the reason I say that is we're living in a world where the master's has quite quickly become the bachelor's of a different day, right? The master's is the new bachelor's, as people like to say. And it's going to be something that can definitely help you differentiate yourself from other people. It's going to be something that can help you earn a higher salary and compete for other jobs that you may not ultimately be able to be qualified for. And yeah, so it's something that I think can definitely benefit your career, and something that you should seriously consider, because it opens lots of doors. Maybe not immediately, but down the road it definitely does. And having a master's degree there, you're going to learn a lot of great things, and it'll help you in the future. So
I'd love to echo what Jonathan said. I'm currently in the Master of Public Administration program, and it's been such a great experience. Just working with the professors and the peers in my classes, it's gone fast. The professors have been super accessible. It's affordable. I've been able to do most of it from home, And I've talked with several other students in a variety of other programs here at SUU, especially in the master's programs, and they've all had similar experiences. So if it's something you're thinking about or you're getting close to finishing your bachelor's degree here at SUU, as mentioned earlier, we'd love to answer any questions and kind of get you going down that path if that's what you're thinking of doing.
And I would just add, from all of my experience, I would definitely say people want you to succeed and they want to help you succeed. Just like with this webinar tonight, there are resources for you. People want to help you, whether you're attending SUU or another graduate program, get to know those people that want to help you succeed. You can find them in admission offices, those people that are leading graduate programs. Just make personal connections and you'll be successful in your program and in your graduate studies.
Great advice. So we don't have any other questions currently, but I do have a question. What is the best way, if anyone else has further questions after this, what's the best way to contact graduate admissions?
We have a general email address. John, sorry, I think you were just gonna say that.
No, you're good. You're good, Lydia.
But in our Q&A section, I can give our email address and our phone number. Reach out to us, Google us. You can Google the Graduate Bridge Program and fill out an inquiry there as well. Just find us on Google or SUU's website, and I'll also include our contact information below.
Thanks for doing that. Okay, so there's currently no more questions have come in. So if you guys like to wait another minute, it's up to you.
Yeah, I think we can wait another minute, and then if no one else has anything, we can probably end it there.
Okay, sounds good.
Lindsay, I just put that in our chat. I'm not sure if everyone can see it, but.
Okay, let me check. Okay, I did not see it come up on the Q&A or on the chat. Let me see.
Let me try that one more time here.
I saw it come through on the chat. I can copy and paste it in.
I think it just went to Grace, so that's my mistake.
Oh, okay, perfect. I just got it.
Awesome. And there's the phone number.
Okay, awesome. It will not let me put it in the Q&A. If you could put it on the chat to all panelists and attendees, then that way everyone can see it.
Do this one more time. I'll get it eventually here.
Thanks. Awesome. Okay, I went through to all panelists and attendees.
Yeah, and we have tons of information on the website as well. If you just type in graduate in the search bar, should be the first thing that pops up, and that'll take you to a world of information about all the graduate programs. So.
Okay. Well, we haven't had any additional questions in the last few minutes. So thank you guys so much for answering all those questions, and thanks to everyone who asked the questions as well.
Thank you.
Thanks for letting us join. We appreciate it.
Yes, thank you. We appreciate it. This will be up on our SUU Career Center Facebook page, all of our social media channels. So feel free to check it out and share it with others.
Thank you, everyone.
Yeah,
Thank
take
you.
care.
Bye, everybody.
Thanks, Stephanie.
Bye.